Hi, I'm Dave Campfield, and welcome to a very special edition of Nerdgasm. To my left is Peppercorn Montgomery.
He had to think about it. We're still working on left and right, but that was good. You got it right.
What is with you and the hats?
It keeps my head warm. It is cold out.
Right. But now you play for the Mets.
No, I'm just very excited and need baseball to start. Right.
And now, to my right, for the first time on this program, is the president or co-president. Are you president or co-president of Inravio?
I'll say co-president.
Co-president. So this is what happened. We had a nerd news girl in mind, and said nerd news girl couldn't make it tonight. So I'm like, I need someone with 2 X chromosomes. Oh my God. Bonnie, you are here. Come on down. Join us for the first time. Make yourself seen, make your lovely self seen for the first time. Welcome to the first episode of a show you would never watch if it was on the internet. So tonight, we are, by the way, last week I promised, I made a suggestion that R2-D2 might be joining us on the show, but he's being detained in a Turkish prison for charges we're not currently allowed to divulge. So maybe a future episode. Now, on the phone with us, we have her on Skype, which was part of the problem we're so late tonight. Skype doesn't always play nice with our technology. We have a very special guest, a one-of-a-kind guest, a Lego master builder. Can we give it up for Baron von Brunk? No, wait, Baron von Brunk.
Hey everybody, how's it going?
Good.
Welcome to the show.
Baron, I've got a question right off the bat.
Yes, sir.
You confuse me because I go to your website and there are so many things that you seem to be. I'm trying to wrap my head around who it is you are. So are you a graphic designer? Are you a master Lego builder? What are you?
Well, I'm a lot of things. I'm a Renaissance man, so to speak. I'm a jack of all trades. Yes, and that's sort of bric-a-brac. For an actual paycheck, I'm a graphic designer for a sports company. So I do like apparel for like the Brooklyn Nets and the New York Islanders, like local teams and like some minor league teams, little knickknacks and giveaways and so forth as an actual profession. I'm also helping to start an electronics company soon for 3D TV gear, which is very quizzo. But the Lego thing is more of a hobby that I take seriously. And I'm looking to do more of Lego, like a Lego art gallery, sculptures, for doing things for corporate events, that sort of thing. But basically just like a serious hobby.
When did you begin building Legos?
Well, I think actually Lego was the first word I could spell when I was a wee lad. I could actually spell before my first name, incidentally. I mean, Julius. I couldn't really spell when I was like 4, but I could spell Lego. Yeah, it rolls right off the tongue.
What is your first Lego memory? I'm sure, do you remember what the first thing it was that you built? What is the earliest Lego memory you have? Because clearly your life was forged on Legos. Baptism by Legos.
Let me backtrack here. My earliest toy memory, I remember digging through a toy box and finding a half-eaten McDonald's burger. Don't ask. But I remember doing that, and that's my oldest toy memory. Oldest Lego memory, I believe, might have been age 3, possibly Duplo. I would say it might have been one of the early space sets, the old Futron sets from back in like 87, 88, like the old space guys before Mtron and Blacktron, all those guys. Might have been one of those for Christmas. I think age 4, I got one of those elaborate Robin Hood sets from the old castle models with the Forest Men. I got one of those when I was about 4 years old. Hence, I have the tattoo in my arm, if you can kind of see it here, Lego Robin Hood.
Now, you have gotten a lot of national attention. Am I right? I mean, you've got covered by a lot of big publications or websites. What are some of the bigger sites that have covered you for your master building here?
Well, probably most proud of was in 2012. I would say it was around March. I was contacted by Nintendo Power, and I mean, obviously, I was a big reader back in way back in the late '90s when N64 was king. I was a paperboy back then, and I was a huge fan. And they contacted me a couple of years ago about the Super Mario 3 airship that I built in late 2011. And they did a huge 2-page spread in the very back of it. So that was a pretty big monumental feat. So I bought like 6 copies of it. And I was published in a couple of foreign magazines too, like a Portuguese design magazine. Actually, last summer, for my Nintendo 64 Transformer, I was published in a Portuguese magazine, I believe a Korean one. I think a Spanish one.
We have some of the pictures.
Italian.
So I went to your website and I took some of the photographs that you posted of your creations, and hopefully Matt, our technical director, will throw some of those up in the background. What is the most elaborate Lego set that you've built?
You mean a custom set or one that I actually took out of the box?
One that you basically you started from scratch.
I would say obviously the Super Mario 3 airship. I mean, that alone, I spent weeks and weeks building mock-ups of that, gotten failed results. As the legend goes, I don't know if I mentioned on my site or not, I might have dabbled vaguely into it, but I don't want to like come across as being some sort of crazy alcoholic on there. But actually, the ingenious method for building that ship came to me when I was really, really, really freaking drunk. Basically, I spent weeks and weeks.
Great ideas come from.
First of all, if you notice the ship, how like the logs face this way, like they face sideways, but the studs point upwards. It has an internal structure so basically the side walls are riveted on like wood panels. I spent weeks trying to figure out a way to do that. So during one weekend, I ate a ton of Chinese food. I drank a whole bottle of wine, I think like a 6-pack of beer, and a can of Four Loko. Next thing you know, I saw a bunch of colors and everything was blurry and I blacked out. I woke up on my floor at like 6 o'clock in the morning and I heard Neil Young playing and I threw up heavily. And next thing you know, I looked over my bed and I saw a full mock-up of the ship, like a very crude mock-up of how the pins would go in, the sides would go in. And I looked at it and I was like, wait a tick, this works. Egad, I don't know how I did it, but I did it. Like apparently when I was like really, really pissed drunk, someone stumbled like all the pieces together and I built the ingenious mock-up for the internal rigging system. And based off that, I went in production, ordered thousands of little brown pieces, and months later built a ship.
So boys and girls, if you out there listening, the moral of the story is before you play with Legos, make sure to get really loaded, because it's going to open up all your creative potential. I saw that one of the photographs that you had on your website was of a machine gun. Like, how do you even go about creating, something like I can't see how you physically create it. Like, do you reshape them, or how could you even begin to create that?
Very rarely do I ever modify the pieces. The most I'll ever do is I might put stickers on them. I never cut them. I sanded them once a long time ago, and I glued them together once because that was for a client. Otherwise, though, everything you see there they were just traditional Lego pieces. Like they have certain modified bricks where you can have the pieces connected sideways, and like they have crazy joints and stuff from like Bionicle Technic. So I was able to utilize those to make so I was able to have like the handle for the front, have like the long the ammo belt. Those were all just regular pieces, but they're like linked together like a chain, so that like the ammo can dangle all over your arm. You can hold on to it. There's a trigger, which is just like a curved like linked hook. There's the handle, and the barrels were just they were circular pieces that were connected. And I had like 100 of them to make the 6 barrels of the Gatling gun, and just connected to like the sideways blocks. Like once you put the whole thing together, it looks like a Gatling gun or a minigun actually from Wolfenstein.
By the way, we have Invader Jim in the chat room was asking if, and you might have answered this just before, but he was asking if you had the 1980s something Space Guy. You said that was a set that you had. Oh, right on your arm, right on your arm. So now you also know a substantial. You're you're as close to as a Lego historian as we're going to find. So how exactly did Lego come about? What is the story of how Lego came to be?
Well, as you know, it's actually a Danish company. I would say it started around the Great Depression, like the early 1930s, back in Denmark. It was originally a father-son business. It was an old man, I forget his name, but he had like a little wood shop where he'd sell like little wooden like trains, little wooden toys and everything. They almost went out of business, and one day I believe, I would say the mid to late 30s, he traveled to a trade show somewhere, I believe, and might have been Germany or Holland, and he basically saw like an early rudimentary like mold injection machine for doing like plastic molds, and they had little samples of little plastic pieces that they just randomly churned out from the machine. He took it back to a store and said, "Hey, like plastic's the way of the future. Wooden toys are, pretty much a dime a dozen, but like plastic could be the way of the future. We could build like, building blocks for kids, but with plastic we can manufacture them en masse as opposed to hand carving them." And pretty much that's how they took off, and eventually they gradually evolved throughout the 40s and 50s, and then they became sort of the household name, I would say, around the early 60s. But they were bigger mostly in Europe. They don't really have like their big American debut until I'd say around the 70s. At that point, they were still like they weren't really as big as they are now. And like I would say they're pretty much their golden year was around like the late 70s through the late 80s. Like that was like the Renaissance for Lego, when they had like Pirates and Castle and
But now with the release of the movie, you would have to say that this is the biggest that Lego's ever been, or at least so it seems. Have you played the whole series of video games, or is that too nerdy for you?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, obviously, I would say about 90% of all my creations are video game themed. But honestly, I'm not really big into newer games. I mean, pretty much you can only make so many like Call of Duty and Halo ripoffs, before games get stale. But honestly, like my fascination for gaming is strictly like everything up until PS2.
So you need to tell me Lego Star Wars, Lego Indiana Jones, Lego Harry Potter, Lego Pirates of the Caribbean, Star Wars 3, like Batman 3. None of these? You just haven't played the game?
I've played them.
Okay.
I've played them. I have the Lego Star Wars for PS2. I got when I was several years ago, like back in like 2005, 2006 or so. But I'm honestly like not really obsessed with it. I'm mostly just into the actual specific toy itself.
You
like the actual
disappoint me.
Yeah.
So now, have you seen the Lego movie?
Honestly, no. I mean, to tell you the truth, though, for the past year or so, I've been getting like tons and tons of messages on Facebook. Everyone's like, "Oh, do you hear they're making a Lego movie?" And it's like, yes, I'm fully aware they are. Like, people keep leaving links to it. It's like my boss at work even called me and said, "Hey, they're coming out with a movie next year." And I'm like, yes, I'm quite aware of that.
The question is, why weren't you in it?
I was to a midnight showing. I just didn't get the chance to. And people will ask me why not, and I said, well, to be honest with you, I'm only a fan of the toy itself. I don't. I mean, like, I appreciate the merchandising and the characters, the universe and stuff, but honestly, I just like the toy as just the toy itself, like not the whole subculture that goes with it or like the universe. I mean, I appreciate it. I mean, obviously, I don't say the movie sucks and I hate everything associated with it, but my fascination is solely just from the individual toys.
Have you at least heard the "Everything Is Awesome" song?
I watched part of it, and I mean,
the song is like taking the airwaves by storm, and it's all based on Lego. So anyway, we're gonna have to get you in the Lego sequel because I see no other way. You're a Lego purist first and foremost. Do we have any questions from the table here?
No, I mean, what do you call it? Interesting question, because you were talking about when you were making the Super Mario Brothers 3 ship. And I played with Legos when I was a kid and stuff, and had an awesome time, but haven't recently. Can you actually order specific pieces and just the pieces you need from Lego directly, or do you just sort of collect them? And how does that work? Or how do you get the pieces you need?
Well, there's actually several different channels. I mean, there's a website called bricklink.com, BRICKLINK, Bricklink. It's basically like an online candy shop for new and used Lego pieces where you can search by year, color, shape, size, etc. Like if you find a buyer, like say a seller that has like, I need like 500 1x2 black bricks, and that guy has them, you can buy them. That's how you do a third party. The Lego group actually sells them individually from their website. They have an online catalog. You can buy but they're pretty expensive though. It's like 10 cents a piece, whereas like you can find someone online to give like 1 cent a piece.
Right.
The actual Lego stores, like the ones in New York City and New Jersey and Long Island, they have what's called Pick a Brick, where you fill up a cup for $15. It's a very, very unknown fact, but if you can actually call up the store and order a bulk box. People usually don't know that, but actually you can actually call them up and say, hey, I need 3 boxes of 1x4 gray. And they'll say, okay, where's your address? Here, give you a credit card number. They'll actually mail it to you. When I built my giant NES controller, I ordered 6 boxes of gray for $70 a piece. So for $70, you can get like 2,000 pieces in one box of just one color and one type. So I pretty much said, okay, I need because actually I learned this after I built the Super Mario 3 ship, so that was all built as parts I bought online and from the store. But again, the bulk boxes, I built that for my N64, my NES controller. I ordered like 6 boxes of gray. For a Zelda project, I ordered like 3 boxes of like 1x2 brown, like of just like 2,000 of those pieces for $70. Wow. And yeah, they'll send it to you gladly.
Well, we are now going to delve into the movie review. I would gladly ask you to stay, but you haven't seen it. So thank you so much for coming on. You're a great guest. You're fascinating. You bring, you have a passion for this that's unparalleled. So thank you so much for being on, and hopefully I'm going to go connect with you on Facebook. How can people find you, by the way? Don't you have a Facebook page that people can like, so you can see all your creations?
Oh yeah, well my primary website is baronvonbrunk.com, BaronVonBrunk. If you go there, there's a link to my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/BVBRUNK, BVB, BVB Baron von Brunk. Instagram, just Baron_Von_Brunk. I don't use Twitter much anymore. Google Plus, no one uses, so there's no point in that. YouTube is mostly just basically a channel for my King of the Hill parodies, which is pretty much Lego related. But you can follow me anyway. I put weird crap on there, but mostly I'm on Facebook though. For my fan page, which is just BVBRUNK. Facebook.com/BVBRUNK.
Thank you so much for coming on.
No problem.
We'll
Thanks for
catch up
coming
with you
on.
soon.
My pleasure.
All right, so now we delve into the Lego movie. Bonnie, I'm going to start with you because I know you're a huge fan of it. And you've seen the film how many times? Like 6, 7?
Oh, at least.
Okay. But
We don't lie on Nerdgasm.
Okay,
It's
none.
not.
No,
it's
no,
not
I've seen it,
appropriate.
none.
Bonnie
always
may,
honest.
may not be the biggest Lego follower or Transformers follower, but she is reading the book on it right now.
Well,
So by the end of the episode, she's going to know all about it.
I'm going to say something totally sacrilegious to you guys right now. I always thought Legos were stupid until just this moment.
Until
That's it,
the
okay.
moment you open that book.
Well, just before, all of a sudden it occurred to me that, okay, this is really no different than, say, a 3D puzzle.
In a way, yeah.
Plastic Lincoln Logs, you know?
Yeah.
But I mean,
actually
these are all like planned sets and stuff like this.
Yeah.
But I know.
Oh, Matt in control room has got something to say.
I have a tidbit of information that I heard as one of the actresses in the movie was promoting the movie that might blow your mind.
Go ahead and blow it.
The plural of Lego is Lego.
It's not
Legos
Legai.
is actually sacrilegious in the Lego world.
Well,
So we didn't play with Legos as kids, we played with Lego.
Wow, that is very interesting.
And annoying.
See, I just broke our own
Annoying.
rule. I lied.
so let's
So let's learn more about Lego.
right. Right. At what point we're going to have, you know what, one of the things I didn't mention to Baron has actually created a number of Lego Transformers. But let's delve into the movie right now. We're probably going to get a call from our other guest at some point. He's a Transformers guy, so he's going to break continuity. Hopefully we'll get to him after the commercial break.
We
Lego
can
movie.
actually change into stuff.
Right. Lego movie. Okay, so first of all, I saw this movie with great expectation because it's from the guys who made 21...
As a double feature. Great Expectations, then Lego.
And- right. It's a guy who
Weird
made...
pairing.
It's a guy who made 21 Jump Street, you know, the film, which was hilarious. I love the Lego games. I loved playing with Lego when I was a kid, so how can we go wrong? First of all, it is very expensive to bring a date to a 3D movie. First, there's no reason for this film to have been 3D. I see absolutely no benefit.
Nothing women love more than the cheap.
Well, I mean, it was like you spent like $17 for a 3D movie that should not be 3D. There's no reason for this film to have been 3D. It benefits it zero. It's a
It makes
money
them
grab.
more money.
Yes, it's a money grab, and it's stupid, and I wish they wouldn't do it. And that's why, you know, they brag about grosses of films being up, because now they have this extra surcharge for 3D. And I think it's, in this film, it was...
Do you want us to roll out the
counterproductive.
pedestal? So you can...
Soapbox.
A soapbox.
I'm not really being preachy here, brother.
Okay.
So,
Can we get that plate back?
So,
If it
my
wasn't a
thoughts on the-
plastic table, he'd slam his fist down.
my thoughts on the film is, what camera am I looking at? God darn it, this one, okay. So my thoughts on the film were, I enjoyed it. I thought it was funny. I feel a potential Oscar-nominated song coming out of this film, because you know it's interesting. Like when you saw the South Park movie, there were some great songs in there, and you didn't ever think that it could possibly be nominated for an Oscar, and then the Oscars came out. So since
And it lost.
but it doesn't matter. I'm not saying it's going to be
To
an
the
Oscar
terrible
winning song.
music from Tarzan.
Don't say that. But you know, so I think that this
They
is
won
going to be.
8,000 Tonys, so it balanced out. I'm
So-
sorry, you were getting to a point.
I was. So the interesting thing about the Lego movie, for as much as I enjoyed it, it is a film that doesn't have a whole lot of resonance for me, and that surprises me. A lot of times I come out of a film, whether I love it, I hate it, I can talk about it for a long time. I'm a film junkie, and whatever it is about this particular film, it didn't have a whole lot of resonance, despite, well, maybe because ultimately it feels like it's going to be a kid's Orwellian movie. You know, they have all these references to like a society where a lot of things, unhappiness is illegal. I mean, you know, it just seems like it was going a bit deeper than it was, and I was enjoying that. And once the conceit in the third act was revealed, I kind of lost a little bit of interest, even though I thought it was a cute trick. It's a nice fluff piece with some good humor. I love, you know, the characters were different. It was certainly a very unique film, but I'm only gonna give it a 7 out of 10. You know, I expected something a little bit more, but you know, but Tim, I know you have probably more thoughts on it than I do.
The first thing is, I didn't know this was directed by the same person who did 21 Jump Street. I didn't know that. I learned something today. In opposition to that, I did not care for 21 Jump Street. But I actually really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was clever, it was fun. I was a huge fan of Lego when I was...
That was good. That was a good callback.
What do you call it? When I was a kid, and I still have tons in my basement and so forth.
He brings us with him everywhere.
I do. It's I'm taking medication for it. We'll get it worked out. But I really enjoyed the humor in the beginning of the film and the whole concept. It was a lot of fun just to see all the different Lego creations and buildings and stuff like that. And you know, the twist in it, or I don't know if it's so much a twist. I mean, it doesn't feel like a twist, but it's a sort of tweak at the end, or conceit, as Dave said. I found it really interesting, and I thought it was actually done pretty well, because it sort of, the moments in it took its time and stuff, and I didn't feel like I was being pandered to like I do at most family or kid movies. Especially in the third act, when you get to it, it gets sort of syrupy sweet, and you sort of see where it's going. But this movie, like a Wreck-It Ralph, very similar to that, it held my interest the whole time, and I just enjoyed it. And it was just a fun family movie.
I think I might have found Wreck-It Ralph to be just a little more acceptable for people above the age of 10. Did you feel so?
Maybe. I think Wreck-It Ralph did a better job of targeting an older audience. I think this one was definitely for the first 2 acts of the movie is definitely feels more in the realm of the preteen era and lower. But family members can get a kick out of it. So it's not one of the ones like The Nut Job that's out now, which is clearly just a kids movie with just lots of fast things moving and animation. Nothing parents could possibly tolerate. But this one, I really, I got a kick out of it. And I thought there was a lot more. When the third act, I felt there was a lot more depth in there that made the whole thing interesting for me as a whole. I mean, out of rating-wise, I would give it an 8 out of 10.
We're close. We're close.
Yeah.
Well, we had a comment in the chat room from a super capitalist that says, "What? You mean they're trying to make money? I thought the movie industry was about charity and spreading happiness."
Not at all.
So no, my point is that if you're making your
Maybe about spreading
customer,
happiness.
if you're making your customer unhappy and you're taking their money, then I disagree with the whole way you're going about business. And I would even think that the film.
But if people are still paying,
people will pay for anything, pretty much. Is our caller Lego Joe Winchell?
it's a mystery caller.
Okay, yes.
Is it Glenn the Jock?
Bring on the caller.
Hello?
Oh my God, it's Lego Joe Winchell. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad you called in, pal. How are you?
I've never seen him in a red shirt.
What is the movie industry? What's the movie industry about making people happy and all that stuff?
Don't worry about it. I want to hear.
Dave doesn't want to pay for 3D anymore.
Pretty much. I want to.
Which is why you should go to the Sayville movie theater. I paid $5 to see this movie last night. $5 at 7
I went to
o'clock.
the theater a couple times. You can't
Every
beat it.
3D movie I've seen.
So,
The
Joe,
3D part of it.
Don't go to 3D movies.
No.
Joe, you were like
Never worth it.
You were always the only. The only reason I went at that time was that it was the only one playing. Joe, you were the only guy in this room that's on this program right now that has seen this film 2 times. So I want to hear your thoughts on what made this a great film. I'm assuming you thought it was a great film, and why Legos remain so topical today. Why they remain more popular than ever.
Well, to be fair, the first time I saw it was with my 4-year-old niece, and she wanted to see it. But I was laughing at stuff that just went right over her head.
Well, you're taller.
But I thought it was hilarious and great, and it was just a lot of funny stuff, like the pop culture stuff in there. I love the fact that Superman did not get along with Green Lantern at all. That was really funny to me. And the whole thing with Batman being in it. It was a really funny movie. It was well written. It was really funny. The joke. Granted, it was for kids, but I think it plays to a larger audience as well. It's not just kids. Like, anybody can laugh at this. And you just got a multitude of stuff to draw from because it's Legos. So that's why they had Batman and all these things in it. So essentially, without even knowing it, we got a Justice League movie too, because the entire Justice League is in that movie.
Yeah, and if
Finally, a movie to do them justice.
right.
That was not an intended pun.
when the Justice League movie comes out, I hope it's going to be live action now, and not Legos. Were you telling me that this is
I
not?
hope it's built as strong.
Were you telling me
Lego.
that this is not a CGI movie? This is a stop motion movie.
It's not entirely CGI. I know. I'm pretty sure. I'm almost positive that the movie is 80% stop motion, which is why the movie looks the way it does.
It is. It's a lot of. It's a mix.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the detail work is done CGI, but I think the sets and a lot of it are done. It's a blend. I don't know
Practical
exactly what
sets.
the percentage is, but there's definitely a fairly decent amount of stop animation used,
Yeah,
which is
yeah,
always
a lot
fun
of it.
because it's different. I mean, everything is CGI nowadays.
Yeah.
Animated movies, regular movies.
Well, I definitely like this.
The government.
I definitely liked the animation style of this quite a bit better than that stop motion film that Wes Anderson did. What was the one? Fantastic
Fantastic
Mr.
Mr. Fox.
Yeah, so of stop motion, recent stop motion, this is a superior use of it, I thought, and it's gonna be interesting to see where they take the sequel from here. Did you have a comment about the games? Because I have a whole number of games that we're going to talk about in just a moment. But you had a funny Lego video game.
Winchell
No, it's not even a
doesn't
funny
play
Lego
games.
story. I just stayed up till 5 a.m. last night with Lou playing Lego Marvel, and because it's that goddamn addicting.
I got to get you guys jobs.
Yeah.
So.
The games are fantastic. It's the same thing over and over again.
It really is. It's the same exact game with different characters.
It's
But
the same thing. They just said, okay, we're going to just take movies and we're going to do Lego versions of them. Now, on paper, it sounds ludicrous and stupid, but it works every time. These games make a lot of money and they're a lot of fun to play. Like they've done the entire Star Wars saga. That was the first one. They did Lego Star Wars.
Joe, I'm about to get into my Lego video game review, so if you want to stay on the phone... No, don't hang up. So you stay on the phone and listen to some of these and add your comments. I'm going to go through them one by one as per PS3.
Or get a
Yeah,
sandwich.
sure. I'll stand here and tell you why you're wrong.
Okay. Okay. So I have the body of Lego games for PS3. The only thing I'm missing is the newest one. Now I'm going to show you, the world, just how big of a nerd... Okay. No, I can't. I have to show everybody. I have to... okay. So,
building
we're gonna
something?
Dave taking direction. It's wonderful.
okay. So, let's start with Lego Star Wars, the original trilogy. Now, I got a PS3, honestly, so I can play these damn stupid Lego games, which are intended for 5-year-olds. I love those. So now, I even had Lego Star Wars on the PS2 and on the Game Boy, on the GameCube, and on the Game Boy. I liked it so much I still got it for PS3. This is a game that captured, I think, better captured the tone of any of the movies better than any game I had played before. And
Oh yeah, because they removed all the dialogue.
well,
That's because all
the
movies
music,
turned video games are usually terrible.
the music. Yeah, this is one of the few examples of video game movies that does it justice, because you're literally walking through the sets that you've seen so often, and these iconic sets, and you're playing these characters that you loved watching as a kid, and now you're physically kind of living through their eyes as a Lego figure. As far as why it works, I don't know. Lego Star Wars, the complete saga, the combination of the original two games, love it. Couldn't play that game. more than any other game. That brings us to the first game I got from my PS3, which was Lego Indiana Jones 2, which I consider the most underrated Lego game that I played. I really enjoyed it. It gets a lot of pushback. People act like this is some haphazard game, and it's no fun. Well, you know what? It is haphazard, but it
It's the
shows.
same game. It doesn't matter. Again, they're wrong. It's the same kind of game. It's just not Star Wars.
But
It's just,
I like
Instead of
Lego
a lightsaber,
Indiana
you have a
Jones
whip.
2 probably better than 1 because of the control you have of the whip. What I don't like about these Lego games are the driving boards and the flying boards because it's like, "Ugh, I can't control where I'm going. Ugh."
yeah, those mechanics are pretty wonky.
Yeah, so Lego Indiana Jones, you go for the first time, build your own sets and create boards, and it's so much fun. I liked it much more than the average person did. I don't know why the game gets flack. It's haphazard, but it's fun, and you can control the whip for the first time. They mix up the movies a little bit, so what? It's great. Lego Harry Potter years 1 through 4.
Oh, I forgot about the Harry Potter games.
Ooh, you know what? I don't love the Harry Potter movies. I like the Harry Potter movies, but I really love the games and the spells that you learn and the magic and the sets
Well, again,
and
these
the
games
music.
are born up.
Yeah, it's wonderful. You know, like
And Hermione is really hot as a Lego girl.
she's a bit nondescript, I would say, though, as a Lego girl. Tim, have you Peppercorn? Have you played these?
I've played the Star Wars ones, and one of the other ones. I think I played the Harry Potter ones also. It's hard to remember. They're really all
There's
exactly
also Lego
the same.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
I didn't play the Lego's Pirates of the Caribbean.
Lego Pirates of the Caribbean is the next game
Instead,
we're
I
talking
just
about.
invited Johnny Depp over.
Better than.
Should've just played the
You know
game
what's
in
it's so
retrospect.
cool? What's so cool about playing a Lego in any of these Lego games is the attention to detail that these people who make the games put into it. Lego
Well, they get paid.
Jack Sparrow walks like Jack Sparrow. The details that they give to all the characters is really specific, and it's a lot of fun. This is a game that I thought wouldn't translate to the Lego universe because you don't really have magic powers and all that kind of thing, and lo and behold, it does. And it was a blast, and it captures the music and the tone and the spirit. And
Well, it's got to be better than the third movie.
yeah, but it's got all 4 films on there. Lego Harry Potter, years 5 through 7. I don't like those movies quite as much as I like 1 through 4, so therefore the game's going to suffer just a tiny bit as a result, but I still love the game.
Stay tuned, folks. He's really going through the whole collection.
I am! That brings us to my most disappointing installment of the Lego series, Lego Star Wars 3, what is the subtitle? The Clone Wars. That might have something to do with the fact that I haven't really
It was
watched.
based on the animated movie and this TV show.
Right.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, now that one, not as much fun. You spend way too much time trying to blow up golden tanks, and as you ride around on a speeder bike as a battle droid. Not the most repetitive of all the series, and therefore my least favorite. Still gonna give it a 7 out of 10. The rest of them get like 10 out of 10s. Lego Batman 2. It's great.
Lego Batman games are incredible.
Okay, your thoughts on the Lego Batman games, Joe?
Wait, Joe, you like something Batman related?
Suck it.
It's nice to
Wait,
see you
wasn't he here
branching out.
last week with a Batman cup? Goblet,
Yeah.
whatever?
Tell
He
us your
likes
thoughts on the Lego Batman game.
Oh, it's great. It's just, it's the first Lego Batman game is great. And again, the thing that you're also forgetting is a lot of these games don't have any dialogue. I think the first
Batman
one-
2 was the first one that had dialogue.
First Batman 2 was the
I
first one that had
can't
dialogue.
believe I know that.
So it was just, you just had a lot of fun and there was no dialogue in it. And it's not like, it got a little bit better when they put dialogue in it, but it was already fun. But the Lego Batman game was great. It was an open world
They
game.
actually got Tom Stoppard to write the dialogue for that game. Did you know that?
Yeah, they did. For
This is a
Lego game,
callback to an
Ron
early
Stoppard
episode.
wrote the dialogue to the Lego game.
All right,
But it was
so
fantastic. It's a great open world game. You had what's great about these games is
Now,
you
is
can
it
just
great
unlock
or
all these
fantastic?
characters.
You've said both.
It's fantastically great.
I have been corrected.
this brings us
But it's
to
great, especially the second one, because the second one, even though it's Batman 2, is essentially, it's the DC Universe game. It's Lego Batman 2, but it has all the DC characters in it, all the Justice League characters and everything. And you get to half the fun of the game is unlocking other characters and going around in the open world and finding everything that you can do with it. It's extremely addicting. I did it till 5 o'clock in the morning last night with my friend Will, just unlocking stuff.
yeah, of course I'm not gonna deny that. And Batman 2 also has some funny dialogue written by Tom Stoppard between Batman not trusting Superman because he's too good, and all. There's fun comic twists in there. And once they introduce the dialogue to it. Next, Lego Lord of the Rings. I like Lord of the Rings.
Didn't play this one. It's the only one I didn't play.
Okay, it's great. It gets
7 different endings.
I think that has everything to do with how much you like Lord of the Rings. And I like Lord of the Rings. I don't love it like some people do. So I guess it's not at the very top of the list. If you think that's the greatest film of all time,
at the bottom of the pile.
right? Now this is chronological. If you love Lord of the Rings, it's probably going to be your favorite Lego
Wait
game.
a minute. This is chronological, and you went through 6 of them before anybody spoke?
Yes, most of the time they're just. Now we are on
Most
to
of
the
these
most.
people talk to themselves, so it's all good.
We are on to Lego Marvel Superheroes, which Joe was just playing until 5 in the morning last night. Now I'm looking into this camera.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Yeah, so you can play. I mean, there's more characters in this game than there have been in pretty much any of them.
155.
Pretty much, yeah. And a lot of them are
155 characters. We're trying to unlock most of them last night. It's 155 characters, and I think it's every. I mean, they've got Taskmaster in it. Like you can play as Moon Knight. You can unlock all these characters.
Yeah, you play pretty far in the game. You got pretty far in the game if you unlock Moon Knight. So now the only one I haven't played is. Let me tell you something about myself. I'm not crazy enough to go out and buy these for $60. If you wait long enough, they become $20, and that's when I got each one of them. Now the Lego Movie video game, which just came out, is too expensive. I'm not touching it, not until it's down to 20. So I won't be able to review that for 6 months.
From this episode of Nerdgasm, it's
How to save
Dave
money.
is frugal. That's the nicest way I could put that.
Dave is broke. What do you think? Dave has no choice but to be frugal. Dave ain't that frugal.
That's a lot of money.
That's over $100 right there. So we are going to go to commercial. When we come back, we are going to have our
This really has
new
been a
story.
long commercial for Lego.
Pretty much. We don't need a commercial break after that. So let's head out to commercial. We're going to come back with the news headlines.
We're all very excited.
Am I gonna?
Inravio.com.
Hey Beatle fans, I'm Glenn Calderon.
And I'm Lucy Diamond.
Join us every Tuesday night from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern Time for Beatles Across the Universe.
On Inravio.com.
Broadcasting to the world.
Catch us.
Transmission of lice occurs from being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Like catching a cold or the flu.
You have guaranteed peace of mind in every bottle of Got Lice because all of our products are completely natural.
And organic.
But strong enough to cover all your lice removal needs while being safe and effective. Our professional technicians are specially trained with our exclusive proven technique to successfully comb out head lice. We come right to your home at your convenience.
Whenever you want us.
We bring everything needed to perform a successful and complete comb out while eliminating your head lice. And we leave you with our exclusive complimentary products to use for the next 10 days following our treatment.
For free.
Our technicians also check all family members who have been exposed to lice. Please visit us on our website today at gotlice.co or feel free to call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at 646-257-0121.
Girls, 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 all have something to say. Some say their emotions get in the way. Some like them big, some like them skinny. Oh, girls, who's come this way? We must unite
this is your good buddies Bruce and Disco from the Glory Days Show, which can be seen every Sunday morning starting at 10 a.m. here in the East.
We have sports highlights, movie reviews, and celebrity interviews.
We have out-of-town correspondents, Timmy the Trotter giving us horse racing tips, and at the end of every show, Mr. B does a live song.
The Glory Days Show, found only on Inravio.com, broadcasting to the world. Catch us.
Hey, this is Gina Cotillo from The Gina Show. Come join us every Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for celebrity interviews, Reality Reel with Billy Charles, funny stories with Brian Kinnear, and much, much more. The Gina Show can be found only on Inravio.com, broadcasting to the world. So come and catch us.
To answer Invader Jim in the chat room, yes, all the shows are Long Island based. Can't you tell from the Long Island accents?
We give the world what they want, more Long Island.
Welcome to Inravio's least Long Islandy sounding show. None of us here have Long Island accents. Bonnie? Okay, so now this is we have our headlines for the week compiled by Peppercorn Montgomery. So let's have it, Nerdgasm.
Yeah.
This week, Legendary Pictures released the first full trailer for the Gareth Edwards-directed Godzilla, starring Bryan Cranston, Aaron Taylor Johnson, and Elizabeth Olsen. The new trailer gives us a better idea of the plot and a quick glimpse into Bryan Cranston's character. It also gives us a quick glimpse of Godzilla himself. For those of you who don't know, this is not a sequel or a remake of the 1998 Godzilla, starring Matthew Broderick, but a complete reboot of the franchise. People who listen closely to the trailer will hear references to a previous battle with a monster taking place in the Pacific in 1954. This, of course, was the year that the original Japanese Godzilla film came out. Gareth Edwards and the rest of the creative team working on this film have shown great respect to the source material and the Godzilla fandom throughout the world. Summer 2014 might come down to a fight between Guardians of the Galaxy and Godzilla for the best of the summer.
Ooh.
So what do you two boys think of that of the trailer?
I think it's gonna be all crap. No, this is the first official trailer, and it was engaging. It was perfect.
I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I mean, just the Bryan Cranston stuff. Maybe if that was just like a $10 million movie about his character, I would watch it right then. Throw in a $150 million giant lizard, and I'm sold.
You know what I liked about, and Tim, you'll appreciate this.
I don't.
You know what whatever. one of the things I got from the trailer that I think was missing from like a lot, not since the very first Godzilla in 1955 or 54, I think they're treating Godzilla like a natural disaster again.
Yeah.
Oh, well, the 1998 Godzilla movie was a natural disaster.
That was a good try to joke, Dave.
Oh, shut up, Matt in control room. Don't make me come in there.
Tonight's episode was written by...
and rip off your mustache.
But I like that. I mean, again, the Bryan Cranston character is great with the dialogue. He talked about you hid something from us. And what I really like about it is they really are, there's just glimpses of what Godzilla, I mean, you get kind of a glimpse of him. They release photos, but they really are kind of keeping it from us.
Yeah, and there's one quick shot at the end where you see him through some closed doors closing.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
But I think, and it's funny because I was reading a little bit about the trailer today, and they're just, some people are like breaking down the trailer, and I guess they're saying that there's glimpses of Rodan and Gigan in the trailer.
Well, there've been reports of that. Well, actually, it's not really reports. The directors themselves said that there will be other monsters that he's battling. That they're battling. Partially, the story is supposedly that some are man-made to fight back Godzilla, and others are that it's sort of that same, sort of in the vein of Pacific Rim, where there's more than one creature, but Godzilla is clearly
Matt in
the
control.
king of all monsters.
I think we have a picture from the trailer. If you want to throw it up there. It's still fun. Now, the thing is, like, I find that they never have been able to kind of recapture the iconic Godzilla look in these movies. Like the 98 movie, it's just, the 98
movie is just terrible.
I hated just the structure, and I think a lot of times that they try to make a Godzilla-like creature, it doesn't capture any, even though the 50s creature is like so. It's like they've never been able to really recapture it. I'm hoping from the seconds I saw at the end of this trailer, it looks like they might have something that's akin to that and does it justice, I hope.
I think it looks exactly like, because, you have to understand, for years these movies were made, and Toho was making these movies for years, even in the 90s into 2000. I think the last one they did was...
2005.
2005 was Final Wars. They're making these movies, and you have to understand, I think a lot of the reason we're like, oh, it doesn't look like it is because it was just a guy in a suit in Japan. That's what they did. And the CG version, they screwed that up in 98, and now it finally seems like we're going to get the full-scale, like, big special effects production of it, and it actually looks like, how I remember it watching them as a kid. And even going as far back as the 1950s when the first one came out. It looks like that version.
Sorry to cut you off, Joe, but there's a great scene in Godzilla Final Wars where the traditional Japanese Godzilla fights the Godzilla from the 1998 movie. And
he blows him away.
Yeah, kicks him over and then just torches him in like 2 seconds. It's fantastic.
That's the first one that Godzilla destroys. He comes back because they're like, oh, we got to get Godzilla back.
He literally fights every monster, but starts with
when we have a Godzilla show, I want nobody hosting but Peppercorn Montgomery, because he knows his Godzilla stuff inside.
I'll do the Godzilla show with Tim.
Oh, yeah. I mean, but it's got to be hosted by this guy. Now, our second news story.
A bunny is being eaten by a bear, Carrot Top doing naked yoga, a remake of Seinfeld starring Keanu Reeves are just a few things I would like to see more than another Indiana Jones movie. But as always, I never get what I want and instead have the joy of seeing 2 new Indiana Jones movies. Now, some people, I'm sure, will look at this as a chance for the franchise to redeem itself after Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, but really it is just a cash grab. Much like with Star Wars 7, my expectations remain very low. Harrison Ford is well past his prime, and the idea of him passing on the reins to Shia LaBeouf, I may throw up.
I don't think they would pass over the reins to Shia LaBeouf.
I don't think so either, but still.
Tim, did you write that?
Sure did.
Call him by his proper name, Joe.
It's Tim to me.
Okay.
I go by many names.
So, I think that, I want another Indiana Jones film. I don't need another Indiana Jones film. I want another Indiana Jones film because of Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and I don't want Harrison Ford to die with that being his last Indiana Jones film. And that's pretty much it.
I'm kind of, not that I'll watch these movies. I love the character. I'll watch these movies, 1,000 times. Even though Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is the worst one, I'll watch it. You know, I just like that character. You know, as stupid as the plot is to that movie, and you know, it's just like I'll watch it. I like an adventuring archaeologist. You know, and what did he signed? Did 2 more they're gonna do?
2 more.
But the thing is, I mean, there's a lot of it's the internet, and until it comes from a reputable source, I can't believe this is like Ain't It Cool News that we read this on. And their source was like maybe Latino Report. It's not like it's coming from Variety. Today you had a bit of information about casting in Star Wars Episode 7. And the actor from The Girls, Adam, what was his name?
Adam Davis, I think.
The guy they're looking at to play the villain.
Yeah, no, it looks like it's a done deal. You know, that's if it comes
I
from
was reading
Variety.
about that today, actually.
I haven't seen this guy's work, so I mean, I don't know. J.J. Abrams might know what he's doing. But we have to move on. So,
I don't know, Star Trek Into Darkness?
Okay, we have to move on to our number 1 news story, which is very topical to all of us.
Our top story this evening is the very sad news that Harold Ramis, longtime screenwriter, director, and actor, has passed away at the age of 69. Harold Ramis is most well known for playing the role of Egon Spangler in the Ghostbusters. Egon, sorry. In the Ghostbusters series, but was also the screenwriter behind such comedy classics as Animal House, Caddyshack, Meatballs, Stripes, Armed and Dangerous, and Groundhog's Day. Harold Ramis did take a brief break from comedy to write the film Club Paradise. At the time of his death, it was rumored that he would be advising on the script to the long-awaited 3rd installment to the Ghostbusters franchise. Harold Ramis will long be remembered for his contributions to the film industry. His comedies came from a very honest and simple place. His was a style and wit that will be missed.
I mean, this sucked. I don't know what to tell you, but like I don't know what else. It was for me like I loved like I own all of his movies. He was one of the guys. He was one of the Second City guys, man. He came from Chicago with Belushi and Aykroyd and Murray and all those guys. And
one of the original National Lampoon's guys.
He is one of the original. He did National Lampoon's Radio for years.
Yeah, and then before SCTV.
Yeah, and SCTV is hilarious. He was on that with Rick Moranis, and you know, and he was such a good writer, and he was a good actor too. He was a great comedic actor. I mean, his resume speaks for himself, and it was probably one of the saddest things I heard when he died. He was 69 years old. And he was still working. He worked to the day he died. I know that. He was advising on scripts and writing all the time.
But I would say that beyond that, I think that he was actually a good person. Because from every interview, I mean, nobody gave a commentary like Harold Ramis. Because I listened to a lot of the DVD commentaries, and he was...
Watch the Ghostbusters commentary. That's what I
Watch
the Ghostbusters, yeah.
That as well, but he has, as a human being, I think, like a lot of heart, a lot of compassion. Not only was he a great artist, a great comedian, I think he was a great person. And when you listen to these interviews, you know, there was somebody, unlike Bill Murray, who probably was a much more moody person, you know, for as funny as he is, Ramis was a much more complete person to listen to. Like if I had the option of being friends with Murray or Ramis, it was going to be Ramis because he was a great storyteller, a great actor, a great writer. He had so much diversity and his whole philosophy on life. I even like the films that some considered as duds. I really enjoyed Bedazzled. You know, a lot of people didn't, but I thought it was...
Okay, go ahead.
Brendan Fraser's never been better in that film, and it's everything that has so much to do with...
That's sadly true.
Yeah, I even like there's even a lot of people do like Bedazzled, but at the same time,
it's a remake.
Even there's even gags in Year One that I liked. You know, Year One's, you know, those were considered his low points. So think about his high points. You know, analyze
I don't think Year One was as bad as. I don't think it's the strongest film. I actually went.
No, I think the problem with Year One was multiple problems. I mean, it was the way it was marketed when it was released. It also came on the back end of people were just sick of Michael Cera and Jack Black.
Yeah.
They couldn't move, at that point. Those two couldn't move any movie. So I think that it was just a victim of bad press. There's actually some decent stuff in Year One and some clever stuff.
Yeah.
And certainly from the script, it's good. I mean, you suffer from some bad Jack Black overacting and for Michael Cera being way too modern in a classic tale.
Yeah, and it's not even like the script isn't bad. It is. I think it has a lot to do with the casting and everything. Yeah. But you know,
I mean, David Cross is great.
I did want to mention a story that Ramis said on a commentary for Bedazzled. Believe it or not, I listened to it, and he's brilliant. He's a brilliant man. And one thing that he said on the commentary, which was so completely true, he was saying that so much of us spend our life in this wish-like state. I wish I could have this. I wish he would love me. I wish he would pay me $1 million for my script. We spend all of this time wishing. And then if we were to actually get what we pined for, what we longed for, we would find ourselves disappointed. You're in love with this girl right here. You finally convince her that she's worthy of your that you're worthy of her love. You take her out after a year. You're looking over her shoulder to see the girl behind her. Yeah. And it was that kind of insight. Like I feel like he had an anecdote and a story behind almost every decision that he made. He was a great storyteller, a great filmmaker, a great actor. What he brought to Ghostbusters as Egon was iconic. Yeah. And I feel it's weird when you really get to listen to someone's work. You feel like you know them more personally, and that's how he made it. Like I feel like I felt like I know him, which is a crazy thing to say. Yeah. And as an artist, I'm going to miss him terribly.
Well, I think one of the great things about most of his scripts, and even ones like Ghostbusters and Bedazzled that sort of deal with supernatural presence, or even Groundhog's Day, which has a sort of supernatural element to it.
Groundhog's Day.
His humor and his sense of humor and the way where he gets his humor is totally from real, genuine interaction with people, with just the characters and the way they approach. I mean, absolutely. The story of Animal House could have actually happened. The story, the Caddyshack is just from. It's zany, but in the same light, it comes from, in Vacation, what he directed, of course, John Hughes wrote that script. It's always, and, John Hughes and him have that sort of similar style where they have these fantastic comic moments, but they all come from a sort of genuine, real, it's not like the Airplanes or Naked Guns of the world, movies I love, but still the comedy comes from just, brilliant built-up comedy settings. Bang Bang joke, but this is more about exploring the characters and the interactions and the things that go on, and then you throw Rodney Dangerfield in, and you're golden. Okay. It's a perfect script.
Right now, Joe, we're gonna thank you for calling in. We're gonna see. Hopefully,
that's okay. I wanted to say something about something nice and anecdotal, but go ahead. Just kick me off the air.
Okay, I'll see you later, Joe. No, okay, say it.
I just real quick before I just want to say, kind of piggybacking off of what Tim said. He did come from truth. He paved the way for a lot of comedic directors and writers, like the likes of Kevin Smith and all those the 40-year-old version. All those films are in the same vein, and he started all that back in Chicago and back in the '80s. And I think he'll always be remembered for playing Egon Spengler, and he'll never be replaced. And I don't think he should be. Just he's another legend. So I hope he's telling Belushi hello right now.
Thank you for calling.
Now you can kick me off the air. Go ahead.
And Joe, we're going to see you next week when we talk about monsters, I hope.
All right.
Okay, see you next time. We now have a caller. We have Michael Burkett. And let me tell you a little something about Michael. If we could throw some of the images up of Michael's work in the background. I met Michael at a film festival a few years ago. And I saw this terrific independent film that he made that I liked so much that I asked him to do the opening title sequence on a couple of my films. It was brilliant. He's a brilliant artist. But the reason I have him on today is because he's a big Transformers dork that owes, like, as somebody, here we go. So how many pieces of Transformers do you have in your collection, Mike?
Oh, God, I don't even know. I've been collecting them for so long, and I've inherited them so much from my older brother, like the really old figures, that I lost count. I've never actually kept count. I've got like 10 Megatrons, 13 Starscreams, something like that. Just.
What do you do with 13 Starscreams?
You put them next to each other and just marvel at them and hope they don't backstab each other.
Wait a second. Now, have you done any short films like with Transformers?
Sadly, no. It's always my goal. One day, I'm going to make an animation with robots, and it'll be full of happiness and joy instead of my normal animations, which are kind of depressing and miserable.
Well, can't you do a miserable one? I mean, hey, look at the whole last part of Transformers 3 with all the destruction. You could do a whole reenactment of that, saga right there. That's right up your alley. Because you're kind of like, you got a little bit of a Tim Burton feel to your work. Now, How many pieces do you have physically on you right now? Let's see. Oh my God! Look behind you. That's amazing. Look at all those.
Right now, at my hands, I got like maybe 30 figures, 50 total on me for Transformers.
Sure. And you got what the hell's RoboCop doing there? He's cool on there.
Clearly, he's maintaining order.
Right behind me, this is just my normal random movie self.
Ed 209. Again, not a Transformer.
One
could
transforms into a.
It transforms into what? I stumped you, haven't I?
A bodega. You can buy cigarettes at it.
So, what are your favorite? What is the first Transformer that you ever got?
My first Transformer actually was the Pretender Bumblebee. It was like the second attempt Hasbro did at Bumblebee that went into like a human cell for some reason. Don't ask me why he was trying to pretend to be a human. Giant-sized cow robot. Baffles me, but he was a cute little figure. Then, of course, I was a little bit too young for the original release of Transformers, but my older brother was big into it, so I inherited all his figures. Including what I think is like one of the best figures ever made, the old 1980s Soundwave.
I mean, let's be honest, when they made the movies, because you must have watched the cartoon too, when they made the movies, they never did Soundwave any justice, ever. Wait, what about what was that? Devastator. Did you have all the pieces of Devastator? Did you create
Actually, yeah, he was the only combiner I used to have, and it was so cool, even though he was pretty much a brick.
This is true. This is true. Now, I've got to ask the chat room, because I know we've got a huge Lego fan in the chat room. You got to ask this gentleman a question, because this is your soulmate right here. So, Jim in chat room, do you have a question for Michael, who is as big of a Transformers fan as you are? Tim, do you have a question while Jim conjures one?
So, when did you start? You started collecting, I gather, when you were really young.
Like I started collecting, but when I was really young, I wasn't so much a collector. I was just like a normal kid.
Yeah.
I fell out of Transformers for a little bit just because the TV shows were really crappy. I was kind of getting too old. Right. And then the movie came out, and I just got really depressed because it's like, oh my God, this is terrible. But then, like, right after the movie, they came out with a new cartoon called Transformers Animated. And the entire show model was pretty much, wow, the live-action movie was terrible. Let's do the exact opposite. And everything about it was just really, really fun. The new character designs were great. And it was just so wonderful that I got back into it.
Oh, yeah. The question that we did have from chat room is from Invader Jim, who was asking, how much for one of those Megatrons?
Which one?
Well, since there's a delay in the chat room, we're going to have to wait 3 minutes for him to respond.
Do you have the original Megatron that was actually transformed into basically a handgun? A toy that looked, when transformed, looked completely like a handgun?
That is my sad, tragic story that my brother will never let me live down, and it caused me to have a weird neurosis. We used to actually did own the original Megatron. Apparently, when I was a little kid, though, like really tiny baby, I kind of bit the head off of him.
Oh my God! You beheaded Megatron.
So that would have been a much better story than the movie.
My brother never let me live it down, though, so I had this weird thing where I had to collect every single Megatron to like make up for it, including the new. This was a bootleg Megatron they made because they can't make a gun transform anymore.
No.
Which is just pretty cool, especially because unlike the original one, he actually looks like the cartoon.
Yeah, he does. That one does.
I got the person who was asking how much for Megatron. He's asking for how much for the Weather P30 Walther P8 38 Generation 1.
I'm actually not quite sure. I've never been really like a money type guy. I think like a reissue of them probably will cost you like $80, $100. The one in mint collection probably a lot more than that.
You could buy that. You could buy an actual gun for that price.
I know they made Well, the bootleg I have here cost about $80. He's probably higher than that now. The bootlegs are always expensive because they're made by small companies, limited runs. So, of course, they have to like boost up the price. But it's kind of cool because they usually make stuff that Hasbro just can't make anymore, like the gun Megatron. Or they've been really popular making the big combiners like the new Devastator because Hasbro just, it takes too much to engineer the combiners.
Well, Michael, let me ask you this because we're a little short on time tonight.
Yeah, sure.
But before we go, did you have any positive things to say about any of the Transformers movies? I'm assuming that you've seen them all. And do you have any hope for the upcoming one with Marky Mark?
I have to say, even though like the scripts are terrible, I'm always impressed by the CGI. The rigging alone for the Transformers are just so incredible from a CGI standpoint. They are gorgeous to behold. And of course, I'm really excited because they have one of my new favorite characters, Lockdown, as the big bad for the movie. So I'm kind of really excited the fact that even though the movie might not do him justice, it kind of, because he's a new character or one of the new introduced characters, it secures him more into the Transformer franchise, so more artists and more writers will pick him up later on.
Okay. Michael, thank you so much for calling in. We're going to go to commercial now, but you were a great guest. Everybody check out his page. What was the name of the movie? The film that impressed me? That Thing You Do, no? That was the Tom Hanks movie.
That Which We Do.
That Which We Do. Go onto YouTube, check out his stop motion, That Which We Do, stop motion, all different kinds of animation. He's brilliant. Thank you for coming on. And we're going to go to commercial now. And we're going to come back with Jerry Horror and our thoughts on the Transformers movie series. Stay tuned.
We have 10 minutes to go.
Inravio.com.
Transmission of lice occurs from being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Like catching a cold or a flu.
You have guaranteed peace of mind in every bottle of Got Lice because all of our products are completely natural.
And organic.
But strong enough to cover all your lice removal needs while being safe and effective. Our professional technicians are specially trained with our exclusive proven technique to successfully comb out head lice. We come right to your home at your convenience.
Whenever you want us.
We bring everything needed to perform a successful and complete comb out while eliminating your head lice. And we leave you with our exclusive complimentary products to use for the next 10 days following our treatment.
For free.
Our technicians also check all family members who have been exposed to lice. Please visit us on our website today at gotlice.co or feel free to call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at 646-257-0121.
Welcome back to our
Transmission.
special toy episode of Nerdgasm, where it's the episode where we should be getting paid for, but we're not. So we're
All
gonna get
about
no
money
money
with
from
Dave tonight.
no money from Lego, no money from Hasbro. I mean, all right, could you at least put us in your next Transformers movie or something. So we have Jerry Horror on the phone, the creator of Nerdgasm, is with us on the phone. Hey, where's
Hello.
Lego Jerry Horror? I made a Lego Jerry Horror photo.
Oh, nice.
Okay, so throw Lego Jerry Horror on. Okay, so Jerry, we're talking about all things now at this moment of the show, this portion of the show, Transformers. Did you have Transformers growing up? You were about the same age.
Yes. It was my 5th birthday, which I had as a ground round, and I got Optimus Prime, and I think I nearly lost consciousness getting that toy.
Did Optimus Prime survive, or did you bite its head off like some other kids?
No, not at all. I tried to take care of him. I lost his fists, because if you remember, his fists were like plastic and had to be put back in. They were problematic. These were still made of die-cast metal when I was a young boy in the 1920s.
I don't think Transformers were around back then. And if they were, they certainly wouldn't be transforming into those kinds of vehicles. They'd be transforming into, like, steamboats, things like that. Now, Jared, did you have any of the multi-piece sets? Because I love getting Devastator. I had a couple of Devastator toys, and I never could make the whole thing because I didn't
You had to have
them
all 6 of the individual pieces.
Right. So he looked like a very anorexic, like robot when you tried putting them together with 4 pieces. But that was some of my favorite.
I was a Dinobot guy, which brings us into the age of the new film coming out, Transformers. Is it Extinction or whatever stupid title everybody's using, like Retribution? Everything's called Retribution or Awakening or
I
Salvation.
thought it was, is it Transformers Age of Extinction?
I think it's Age of
Age of
Extinction.
Extinction.
It's like a Megadeth album title. You know, it's funny because we used to play with Legos, and now they're gigantic box office successes, and it's. I mean, really, you know, you could tell that this was taken too far when Peter Berg unleashed Battleship on the world.
Oh yeah. But the thing is, it flopped horribly. So.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
well, the Ouija film has been in development the longest, and I think that one, the Ouija board, lends itself most to a film. You know, because of its property, you got to be creative with it. There's no rules really. But that we have yet to see that film. So we're talking about Transformers.
Right.
Now, let me explain.
Yeah, your thoughts on the movies too.
Okay, here's what we got. Transformers. Let's just talk about the movies. You could call the first Transformers A Boy and His Robot, because for me, any kind of magic that DreamWorks tried to emanate on the screen was really the stuff between Optimus and Bumblebee and his boy, which is played by the lovely Shia LaBeouf. You know, the kid who pretty much single-handedly, well, not single-handedly, along with George Lucas, almost destroyed the entire Indiana Jones franchise. I love that kid. Good old mutt. Anyway, you know, you've got the Transformers movie, which I really kind of dug. It had the Linkin Park soundtrack. I love Linkin Park. Sue me. I love new metal, whatever. But the reality of it was that I could believe robots, sentient aliens coming to Earth and taking on these forms. What I didn't believe about Transformers was Shia LaBeouf hooking up with Megan Fox. That is the most implausible
By the
thing.
way,
in the whole
not that I'm a tabloid kind of guy, Jerry, but apparently it did happen.
Hey, dude, you know what? You get enough money, and whatever, anything can happen.
And
But-
wait, let me bring it back to this. You know what their mutual love was? Lego
What's
Star
that?
Wars. Goes all full circle, my friend. Lego
Have
episode.
you seen the porn star Christy Mack, who is absolutely gorgeous? Shout out to Christy Mack. She will give a free blowjob to someone who builds her the most beautiful Lego sculpture she's ever seen. So,
Okay,
if
I'm
you're
not sure if that's in line with reality.
Is that the new Nerdgasm contest of the week?
But I'm not aware of any of that. The Megan Fox
Yeah,
story was true though.
well, let me talk about what was Transformers 2, Revenge of the Fallen?
It's something like that, yeah. All I know is I saw John Leguizamo's butt, not John Leguizamo, John Turturro's butt, and I really didn't need to.
Yeah, it's funny because he's going to be in the new one, so they pretty much they're creating a second trilogy, if you will, as they have done with the Fast and the Furious films so brilliantly. And I actually, tongue firmly planted in cheek, but I actually kind of do whatever. So we could call Transformers 2 eye rape, because I don't care how many times you watch it. I don't care if you have a Blu-ray player or if you watch it on IMAX. I have no idea half the effing time what is going on in that movie or why. And you've got old-timey, like...
They rush into production, and you rush a film into production, you're going to wind up with a screenplay where all the pieces don't exactly fit. It's product at the end of the day, and the filmmakers are making it like a Crystal Skull. Ultimately, they're just struggling to hit a deadline, and they almost stop caring about, is it good? Wouldn't you agree?
This is a huge franchise. This is a big money-making franchise. You've got Hasbro, who now thinks they're a movie studio. There's guys, smoking cigars and dressing like old Fox executives. But it's really funny how everything's kind of come full circle, that anything that was a license or a property, no matter how big, no small, like everything from your childhood will eventually just be rebooted and made into a movie, even if it has no business being a movie. The third film I liked a little bit more because it had Buzz Aldrin, and my lifelong dream was to see Buzz Aldrin speaking to Optimus Prime. And then we had Leonard Nimoy as Transformer, doing the voice of a Transformer.
This was something I noticed about the Michael Bay films. Michael Bay can be the most frenetic Hollywood filmmaker there is, but he's got one of the strangest sense of humors, possibly one of the most juvenile sense of humors of any A-level film director there is out there. I think that his comic performances are so often overdone that I just I can't believe that studio executives aren't like giving him a hard time about it.
Because he makes money.
I guess so. Like once you've made money, you can pretty much do what you want, even if it's embarrassing.
If it makes money once, keep doing it until it stops making money. That's the reason why we have 4 Transformers movies.
But I mean, the humor in these films. I mean, sometimes. I mean, in the second one they had the big car urinating on one of the other characters. They had him speaking in ghetto. In the third film, you had the Asian character, the guy from the Hangover movies, doing some. I don't know if there's ever been a Hollywood film with a performance at this level before, but it was like it would have been over the top in the 20s. It was really bad. Like some of the performances in the film, I don't get where he's coming from. I know he's trying to be funny, and every character has to be really super quirky in one way or the other. And it's sort of like there's an excess of quirkiness in Michael Bay films, and I think that's some of what bugs me about it. I like the films, sort of.
The second movie is honestly eye rape. They should have just called it Transformers eye rape, because you cannot watch that film. Even it doesn't make any sense. I tried watching it on peyote last week. It doesn't make any sense. Not just story-wise, but you can't tell during the battles what's going on. You're like, Jesus, this is crazy.
The peyote's not going to help the matter. When you're off peyote, might be a little. Actually, no, it's not going to be any easier to follow. But and also, like all this.
What's crazy is
the spiraling camera movements. As these guys are transforming, the camera spirals around them. Like you're like at a loss to figure out what's going on, the geography of everything, especially in that second film. So yeah, I absolutely agree with you on that.
I think what it boils down. I'm sure you guys probably mentioned something about Harold Ramis passing away.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for
so
watching
I'm a
the
little
entire
late to
show
the
to
party.
know that.
But what I will say this is I watched a fantastic interview from, I guess, 1991 with Harold Ramis. And his biggest piece of advice was say yes to everything. And I think that's great advice for anybody who, if you're watching Nerdgasm and you're a writer or you're an actor or you're just a fan, don't say no. And I think that's the greatest thing that I've heard in a long time because, Ramis even said it himself. He said that he was only good as the sum of his parts, the people that he got to work with. And I think that's true, with Nerdgasm, is that I think alone everybody in this whole crew has their own strengths, but once you put us together, we're like Voltron, which I enjoyed infinitely. I went through my Transformers phase, then I went through my Voltron phase.
Voltron, that's a little sacrilegious in a Transformers show, my friend. So
it is kind of sacrilegious.
So we haven't heard from Peppercorn. I've got but before I throw it over to Peppercorn, everybody's thoughts on Shia LaBeouf in this film. I like him in the first film. Joe might hate him, but I think that for all intents and purposes, I liked what he did. I thought he bought
It's a boy and his robot.
Yeah. Well, the second film, it's sort of like, well, he's losing it a little bit, but. I had no issue. So now Peppercorn, unleash the Kraken.
In the, what do you call it? Just talking about Shia LaBeouf in the first film, he's fine in the first film. I think by that point he hadn't become Hollywood Shia, which makes a huge difference. Listen, these movies, I mean, what can you say about them? They're mainstream popcorn flicks. There's no depth to them. They're hollow. They're all effects. The story is secondary to the visuals. It is what it is. They're made for the lowest common denominator. The comedy is not meant to be too challenging. It's meant for, teens. These movies have a very particular audience, and that audience is the audience that primarily goes to see movies. And they keep going to see Transformers. They're gonna keep making them. I just can't get too interested or excited about them one way or another. I think I saw Transformers 1 twice and the second one once, and it's just terrible. The second one's really bad. The first one was actually better than I thought it was going to be, but that doesn't mean it was good. It was just entertaining, so I was entertained while watching it. And the third one was actually kind of like the first one. It wasn't terrible, but it was... And the last 45 minutes, if you haven't seen the last 45 minutes, it's the same last 45 minutes as Man of Steel. So there you go. But, they fight a big snake, this flying around, everything gets destroyed, and in the end, nobody cares.
I can't say.
Wait, didn't that also happen in the Avengers?
Yes.
Yet for some reason, I cared.
That happened in the Avengers.
I was going to say. I don't think that they've ever the visualization of the Transformers. I have a hard time with in these movies because I feel like I remember what the toys look like. I remember what the cartoon looks like, and it has a whole different kind of feeling. I don't like what they've done to reconfigure Optimus Prime's face so that you can see his mouth moving. I liked what it was. I liked what we grew up with, and I wish that they made something that was more in line, at least somewhat more in line, with. What I remember from my childhood.
I can understand that too. I mean, I think it would have been really hard. I mean, I don't do CGI, so I don't know. It would have been really hard to keep Optimus Prime in a realistic live-action movie looking like he did in the original animated series. I think it would have been very difficult, and I guess they did the best that they could. I don't think the effects on the Transformers and how they transform bothers me. I think that some of them it looks really cool and it really works, but others it just seems like a lot of things moving.
And I'm going to throw this
no form and function.
This criticism over to Bonnie as well. Bonnie just saw Transformers for the first time. When was that?
Within the past couple months.
Okay. One problem I have is sometimes it's very difficult to differentiate from one character to the other, one Transformer to the other. I'm like, wait, who's that? Did you find that same problem too?
Being brand new to it, no. It was pretty easy to know who was who.
Really?
And the first one, because you saw the first one, as we determined. And the first one, it's not too bad because there's only like 5 Autobots in the whole movie, and then I think there's only like really 3 Decepticons that they really call out. But by the time it gets to like the third movie, there's like a dozen. You have no idea what the hell's going on.
I thought the first one was nice.
Yeah.
It was a nice story. It went through. It was fine. It didn't inspire me to want to see the other ones, though.
Okay, that's not a good sign. But I was going to say that, you said that this is a Hollywood film, Peppercorn. You said this is a Hollywood film.
Yeah,
I expect more than that.
But
at the same time, I think a Hollywood blockbuster that's made for the masses can be a film that appeals to everybody that has more heart and soul put into it.
Absolutely.
So I wouldn't just use that as the excuse for it to get away with. But
it's not an excuse per se. I mean, I go to see a Michael Bay film. I expect probably on the better ones, the Bad Boys and The Rock, and maybe the first Transformers, you want to consider that too. I expect to be entertained for the entertainment. There'll be explosions, people talking fast, blah, blah, blah. I don't expect to be mentally engaged in the characters or anything else like that. And a perfect example of how bad a director he is Pearl Harbor, because he took that same approach to a segment of American history and made it a popcorn movie, which is almost offensive.
Okay, a scale of 1 to 10. You and I, because Bonnie just saw the first one and she gives it a 10 out of 10.
No, I do not.
So I gave the first film. I think it was a good film. I gave it 7 out of 10. The second film I thought was pretty bad, 4 out of 10. Third film, I don't know, maybe a 6 out of 10. Jerry, how do you rank the series?
I'm going to say spot on, except for 2. I'm giving, I guess, 2 out of 10.
Okay.
I hated the second movie. I'm going to impart just really quickly a little bit of Age of Extinction gossip here. Michael Bay felt that the original trilogy, as now he's calling it, which is pretty funny, was the Shia LaBeouf curtain. Shia LaBeouf? I can't say his name. Let's just Shia.
Let's call him Shiloh.
Whatever.
Okay.
Moving on.
I'm going to call him. Well, the whole point is moving on. This new trilogy promises us the amazing acting abilities of one Mark Wahlberg and a much more. He says this is the more adult trilogy, so we're going more dramatic, more heavy. All I know is I saw Optimus Prime riding a Dinobot, which I don't think the Dinobots would let them do without biting him. But I really have to say this. I just saw RoboCop, which I really liked in IMAX, and holy crap, when you see the trailer for the new Transformers in IMAX, I hate to say it, it looks pretty damn cool.
So, Jerry, we hope to see you on next week on our monster episode. I have to turn this over to Tim before we're going to close off, and I hope to have time for a tribute. But, so, Jerry, hope you're hosting next week. I'll talk to you soon, my friend.
It could happen.
It would be wonderful.
Could happen.
Now, Peppercorn.
All right, gentlemen, have a good evening.
You too.
Have a good night.
Peppercorn, rate the series, a scale of 1 to 10.
The first one I would give a 5 out of 10. It was watchable. The second one, I have to agree with Jerry on that one, 2 out of 10. It's barely watchable. And I would give the last one a 5 out of 10 also. I mean, it is the last one with its mistakes. I mean, Shia is terrible, and the girl they got to replace Megan Fox is basically unwatchable. But I'd still give it a 5 out of 10. The final battle is actually kind of cool. It's better than Man of Steel.
Do we have time for a tribute? Okay, that's obviously a subject for a lot of discussion amongst fans. But do we have time for the tribute? Okay, so today I was informed that a friend of, actually no, not Harold Ramis. Today I was informed that a friend of mine, an older gentleman that I've known over the years, had passed on at the age of 87, and he was a lover of film, he was a lover of cinema, he loved all kinds of films. You know, whether it was a musical or a horror film, he was a funny, lively person with a lot of warmth, and I even made a video with him on my Caesar Nato YouTube channel. So I want to play a clip of him as we close of Henry playing here Hank as we made a fake public access show to promote Caesar Nato Summer Camp Massacre. And here is that fake public access show along with his wife here in this clip.
Hi, I'm Hank.
And I'm Betty, and welcome to Movies for Older Folks. This week we're going to be reviewing 3 very special movies.
Our first movie this week is Saw 6. To be honest, this movie is gross, disgusting, bloody, and I loved it.
What?
Great gore, good kills.
I can't believe that you say you love that movie.
Well, I rated 4th behind Saw 3.
None of them were any good.
Our next movie is Hostel. There's a certain point when a movie crosses the line. This one does that, and I loved it.
Good God.
Starts off with good nudity and ends up with great kills and gore. And especially the part with the chainsaw. Rah!
It's all the reasons that I hate the movie. It's disgusting. Totally socially unredeemable. No real point to it. It's the kind of movie you bring home all the time. Okay, our final movie is Caesar and Otto's Summer Camp Massacre, which I thought, for what was supposed to be a horror film, was really funny. It was really well done. Performances were great. The camp director was a blast. I just enjoyed the whole movie very much. Better than these gory things that are seriously violent. Didn't you like it?
Well, it was sort of predictable. It could have been gorier, and they could have had a few more boobs in there.
I just thought overall it was a great movie.
The boobs do keep me interested.
Unbelievable. Okay. Well, thank you for watching. This is Betty and
Hank.
saying goodbye until the next time. Hope to see you then.
Rest in peace, Henry Lipkowski. That was all scripted. He liked horror films, but that was not his mentality. He's a great guy. I'm going to miss him. So thank you, Bonnie, for joining us this week.
What's your name? And other person I just named, I forgot. It doesn't matter.
Random
Call
Met
me
Player.
what you will.
Thank you, Random Met Player, for joining us today. Peppercorn Montgomery, it's his birthday. Send him a Facebook message. Wish him a happy birthday. We just missed it the other day. Thank you so much for tuning in. Next week, if all goes according to plan, we got a special episode on monsters with a very special guest if he's able to make it. And I'm not talking just about Jerry Harm. So tune in next week. Roll credits. Thank you, Matt, Technical Director.